Go. We are recording. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Gonzo Experience. I am David Gonzo Mamano. So happy that you are here today and that you're sharing your heartbeats with us today. So many podcasts out there and YouTube shows, and maybe even The Price is Right is on right now. There's so many things going on, and you are here with me today, and I want to make it worth your while because I have a great, awesome guest who's willing to first of all, she's doing some great things in the world, and second of all, it hasn't been we'll say a walk in the park, and it's not a walk in the park for anybody, but she's willing to share the journey, which I really appreciate. Jen, I'm going to say Jen Travers, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How are you? I'm so glad you're here today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so great. So great.
We've been kind of talking a little bit about 10 minutes before we hit record, and you're one of these people that you I bet a lot of people say this, that you become like instant like great friends with people.
I like to riff with people. I like to talk to people. So if they enjoy it, awesome.
Yeah, I do. I already feel connected to you. So we're going to have I feel like I know you. So we're going to have a great conversation. So Jen, you're on the show. A mutual friend of ours, Wendy Thiel, thought that you would be a great guest on the show. And I know you're going to be. Now, you are somebody who you're doing a lot of different things. You had a lot of different experiences, right? So you were born in India. You were adopted by an American family. Your dad is Portuguese. Your mom is Swedish. English. Yeah. And then, you've been through a lot with your life that you're going to share, right? You've been through some tough times. You've been through some drug abuse. I believe you said alcoholism. You've been through a divorce, yet you have this radiant, great energy that I'm feeling through Zoom right now. And so we're going to see how you got there. You're also a full-time nurse, right? You're an author. You're a mindset coach. You're a speaker. Anybody that goes to your website, I think instantly is going to imbibe, some of your energy and feel great. And you're really a master meditator too, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting.
I like to think so. Yeah, it's fun.
And, reading through your bio and your website, it sounds like meditation played a major role in you finding your I'll say your happy place, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you are, I said you're Indian. You are not Native American. You are from India. You are from,
yes,
you are from Delhi. And so tell us, listen, we have all day. No, I'm just kidding. Tell us your story though. Tell us okay, you're born in India, and give us that piece. And then just take us through the journey of your highs and lows, and then how you came to not only saving yourself and putting yourself in a great place, but not being selfish about it, using that to help others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again for having me on the show. I'm so excited for this. So I like to say the long and the short of it, but it ends up being the longer. But so basically what happened is that I grew up in a very traditional family. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a firefighter. I have 2 older brothers. I was always presented as, like typical American family, right? Like growing up, we always had everything that we needed, everything that we wanted. We were always taught to be nice, taught to, do the right things, be respectful, all those things, right? And so going through my middle school years, my high school years, and then collegiate years, it was just one thing after another that just kind of compiled a really dark phase of my life that lasted several decades. So that consisted of starting to drink at a really early age. I smoked pot. I got into some drugs when I was in high school. College, I drank very, very heavily. Then I did what I was supposed to do. I graduated college, did my thing, moved out to Philadelphia, moved out to Seattle after that, lived in Seattle for about 15 plus years. Got into some really heavy drinking, got into my first relationship where I ended up marrying the guy. And then just kind of things started to fall apart a little bit at the seams. And I was having fun though. Like I was digging life. Like I was bartending, I was a massage therapist, I was having a good time, just living life and really just finding my happiness through drinking and all those things. And then my first marriage disintegrated. obviously because of the drinking and because of all the extracurriculars. And then I got into another relationship, and about a year into that relationship, I was posed with an ultimatum, and it was, if you want this relationship to continue, then you need to stop drinking. And at that point, I was just kind of going through the motions, and I was like, okay, I'll just, check that box. And so I went to rehab. You can read about it in my book, called Recalibrate. It's pretty graphic. They use aversion therapy. It's called Shake Shadle, out of Seattle. It's a 10-day immersion, basically outpatient program. And that pretty much set my life into a different trajectory, but I didn't really know it at that point. I was still kind of trying to figure out what this happiness, this ungettable happiness, this ungettable get was. And then probably a couple of years into that relationship, we had gotten married and decided to have children and settle down and that kind of thing. And I was still not happy. Then I started getting into some self-help books, Jack Canfield, his success principles, and then, Tony Robbins and those kinds of guys, affirmations and whatever. And decided to take some time off of nursing full time and just start my own business. And I call it Clean and Balanced 1.0. It failed miserably. We can get into detail about that later, but I was, at that point, I didn't have anything else to do though, because I wasn't drinking anymore. I wasn't doing any drugs. I stopped my eating disorder. I was able to figure that out. I just really had no idea though. I was so empty and so lost and so much of a shell of myself that I just really had no idea. So I just kind of picked up the pieces. I did what I did best and just found something else to do. So became a certified health coach. And, in that whole business scheme of things, lost my way again. So we did we pulled the geographical, we moved from one corner of the United States all the way down to another into Florida. And that's kind of when my life changed. I had this conversation. I had to go back to work. I had this conversation with a coworker of mine, and he was like, what do you do for fun? And I was like, fun? What does that even mean? Fun. I'm like, I'm making coffee for customers at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, my kids are at home, they're sleeping. My then husband was working or doing something. And I go to the beach when I can, and I hang out with my family, and I do for my family. I'm like, what do you mean fun? He's like, no, what do you do for fun? And I was like, shit. Right. So that's my story as far as when things actually started really shifting. He introduced me to meditation. I started working with
Your friend did?
heavily. Yeah. He just really changed my life in a way that I didn't think was ever possible. So I started doing meditation. I started doing intentional work. I started researching Abraham Hicks and Gabby Bernstein and those kinds of people, and just really getting into like the energetic, the spiritual, the mindset, the missing piece. And really, that's where my life changed. And that's when I started feeling relief and satisfaction. And by those rocking points, I was able to actually find the happiness, find the difference that I was missing. And that's how I found you.
That's where we are today.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I mean, what a roller coaster. And so it sounds like you went from being really empty, just your soul was empty, to just really now filling it up, just feeling very just fulfilled and satisfied and full of love, and matching your happiness with with your soul, and just on a good trajectory. I missed one piece though. And so, because you went from like, you were like in this Beaver Cleaver type of great family, right? Great dad, great mom, siblings, living, it seemed like a very normal life, to all of a sudden like drinking and drugs, right? Yeah. Like what do you think happened? Like what caused this like idealist, suburban upbringing to like, whoa, what do you think? What do you think like kind of started that whole trajectory?
That's a great question. So it honestly was based on external factors and expectations. So I was raised to be nice and to be pleasing and to really start to just do what other people wanted me to do, and those expectations. And so compile that with the awkwardness of a teenager and trying to fit in and trying to figure yourself out, and then trying to like really remember like your gut instinct and your gut feeling, and then really trying to find a place where like all those things can actually fit in and you can be okay with it and still be yourself. And I never had that. I never had that. And I can honestly say that I never had that feeling up until about 5 years ago, which is crazy. Right. So, like, decades and decades and decades of trying to search and trying to fit in and trying to, like, I was a part of the jocks. I was part of the burnout club. I was part of, like, the drama club. I was an athlete. I was all those things, but nothing ever resonated with me. I never felt like I was good enough. I never felt like I was pretty enough. I never felt like I was thin enough. I never felt like I just never could live up to this standard of expectation that my parents, that my brothers, that my family, that society, that I had finally just put myself on this pedestal and never could obtain that. And it just got to me. And the only outlet that I could use was drugs and alcohol, because that put me into a mindset of decreased anxiety, that I could like kind of like sit back in the, and kind of enjoy other people's, light and other people's world, and just say the funny quip, funny response, and do the thing, and then just leave. Right. So that's kind of where all that started and swirled up. And then that just became my baseline for years.
So who'd you become if you were to describe? So you were doing the jock thing, you were doing the drama thing, et cetera. It seems like you're trying to be everything to everybody except to yourself. But now you are focusing on yourself. Taking that pause and kind of, when you do a computer, you do what you do, all Control Alt Delete. It sounds like you did that to your life, just kind of like rebooted. And so, now that you feel like you're just in a natural zone of genius, like who are you?
Oh man, I am just having so much fun. And I remembered who I was. I remembered why I was here, why I came. And I remember that I'm here to feel good. I remember what it feels like to have a gut instinct and actually follow through with it. I remember what it's like to now feel, have a choice of this or this, and actually make the decision based on what I want and what feels good. Because now it's like, if it doesn't feel good, I don't do it, and I'm okay with it,
Yep.
because it's not about pleasing anybody else anymore. It's about pleasing me, because everything else is contingent on that. And it's just really cool living this way. And some people would say it's selfish. Hell yeah, it's selfish. But why would I live on somebody else's expectation anymore when I've gotten a taste of what it feels like to live on my own terms?
Well,
Because yeah,
it's not selfish, because I mean, I see what you're saying,
yeah,
because it's about me, me, me. But at the end of the day, the better you are for the world, right? The universe. You better for
exactly.
yourself. You better for your kids. You better for your friends, your family. It's at the end of the day, and maybe initially it sounds selfish, but it's very selfless ultimately. And it's very trite, but it goes back to that darn airplane analogy. Like you got your little 5-year-old kid sitting next
Yep.
to you. Your instinct is to put the oxygen on him or her first, but no, you take it first, because if you're not getting oxygen, you can't help your kid, right?
Exactly, exactly. And it's funny because as I started on this this journey, this path of figuring myself out and remembering why I'm here, and really just honoring that and embracing it and encouraging it and just growing with it, I have seen so many shifts in my relationships. And truth be told, my current marriage is now ending because of it. Because I realized that this is not a relationship that was built on something that was fulfilling. It wasn't. And it's just interesting that I'm able to let that go. And I talk about a lot about ready to be ready to be ready. And had this whole relationship thing, everything, all these things that have happened in the last year or so happened 5 years ago, I would have fallen apart. I would have been in the corner, just kind of like waiting for life to come at me. I would not have been able to handle and be able to be ready for the next steps in my life had I not created this foundation of spirituality, meditation, and just making sure that I was being selfless in the end and being okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not the person, that, your second husband here married,
Right.
years ago. You're not that person anymore. Right. And,
Exactly.
and I mean, it's tough. It's tough, right? Tough love. I mean, in personal life and business, right? I've known founders of companies that, would get a team together, grow a company from like 0 to 5 million as a team, as a family. But they weren't the right people to bring it to the next level. And it's very heart wrenching, but you have to let those people go to sometimes get to that next level. And I've had people on my podcast say it was the toughest thing I've ever done. In order for the company to get to the next level, they had to shed people that were great from step 0 to step 5, but not for the next steps. And in your personal life, it seems like you're needing to surround yourself with people that are going to be part of the journey to bring you to the next level, because you're doing, it sounds like you're like amazingly like loving life, but there's still so much more, right?
There's so much more. And like once I opened that door, is like that Pandora's box. I mean, shifts have been happening. Oh my gosh, like exponentially, and those speeds and the way those timelines in which those are being collapsed is just phenomenal to me. I love it. And the cool thing about it is that, yeah, I have my 12-month plan. I have my business plan and my personal plan and where I want to be and those kinds of things. But like the coolest part about it is that, Dave, is that I'm able to actually sit here and watch it all roll out. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the beauty. And that's where people kind of get stuck. It's like they want to be from here, they want to be in point A and go to point B, and the grass is always greener and what's on the other side and those kinds of things. But it's like, man, just like enjoy this ride, because once you get from a place of mistrust to trusting the universe and then actually knowing that shit's gonna happen, from that place of knowing, that is where you get to have the fun of watching these 3 months roll out and be like, it's going to happen no matter what. Like this, all these good things are going to happen. But now it's fun to be able to watch the universe wink at you and wink at me and be like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, this
Yep.
is for me. Yeah, this is cool. And that's where the fun happens. That's where the
Yeah.
magic happens.
I got you.
So
I just, have you heard of, Mike Dooley by chance?
I have it on. No, tell me more.
Yeah, well, I'll email you his information. Everybody, just Google Mike Dooley. He's all about what you're talking about. He's all about just like trusting the universe and asking the universe what you want, and then thinking about it and visualizing it and being like amazed how it delivers. Like all of a sudden, people and all these circumstances show up, and you're like, wow, and it's there. But you just really have to get in the right mindset to manifest it and have it come to you. And
Yeah.
it is mind blowing. And people are like, oh, it's all woo woo shit. And they're
Mhm.
like, well, but try it. And then when it happens, you're going to be like, wow, there is something there.
Yeah, exactly. Like all those things where people are like, oh, it was a coincidence. Oh my God, I was just talking about you. Oh my God, you know what? This
Yeah.
is, I was just gonna call you, whatever. And those are the ways that the universe is working through you. Like those are the cool things that when you step back for a second and you just revel in that and you're like, oh yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't just a coincidence. Like that was the universe at work,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. No,
Some cool things.
I'm with you. No, I remember, I even remember when I first way back in 1995, when I was 25, started my first company, and all of a sudden all these things just started coming to me, like the people and these lucky, quote unquote, lucky breaks and these opportunities. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And that's when I really started saying, like, if you put it out there and you start moving towards it, it's amazing what's going to cross your path. And
Hmm.
so I know for a fact, whether, if whatever God you believe in or whatever you believe in,
Yep.
there's something out there that is going to help you. Right. And
Yes.
I'm a big believer in that for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, so you're a nurse. So first of all, thank you for all of your service, especially during this whole crap storm named COVID.
Absolutely.
Bless you for that. But you also, do a lot of coaching, right? And you
Yep.
help people. So tell me a little bit about that. Like who's like a perfect, we'll say like your client avatar, like who do you love working with, and what condition or what state do they come to you in, and how do you help them to get to those next levels?
So I've done a lot of work on this part because this was a big block for me when I first opened my business, because I had worked with like one of those MLMs, when it was one of my things that I augmented my business with, because I had no idea what I wanted to do with coaching at that point. And I got sucked into social media and got sucked into all these things, and algorithms and strategy and all this other stuff. And
Funnels.
that's
You do funnels.
oh, it was terrible. I hated it. I hated it. And I
Yeah.
literally closed my doors about a year or so later, just because I was such a lost soul when it came to business. And because I had created all these things, right? I did everything right. And then when I reopened my doors and started basing my business on what felt good, and what was driving me to do this work, and like what my work actually was and what I was here to do and all these things, I realized that all that shit was just really just it was just push of papers, right?
Mm.
So like when you talk about like the perfect person I work with and the perfect avatar and those kinds of things, it's more along the lines of who resonates with me, and who do I resonate with, and who do I want to chill with, who do I want to riff with, who do I want to like, who would I actually want to go and hang out and have coffee with or dinner with or like go on vacation with. That is the kind of person that I want to hang out with and coach, right?
Yeah.
Because why would I want to spend, I mean, my time is money, my money is time, right? Because we only have this much time in our day. I have a lot of things going on, and I want to spend time with people I want to hang out with. So if I don't feel like I can be of service to you, if I don't feel like that my story, that the things that I can offer with you, the things that you need in your life, if I don't feel like that's a good fit for us, then go carry on, go find somebody else that can help you, because there is somebody out there. Right. But if I feel like I can, my stories, my life defining moments, how I got from point A to point B really is something that is like picking up with you and just really starting to resonate with you, then yes, let's explore that. Let's take a time out of your day and out of my day, and be able to riff with that and hang out and enjoy each other. Right.
Yeah.
It's all about just having a conversation with people. Um, Hopefully that answers your question, but
Totally, totally. No, I want to have coffee with you for sure.
yeah, I just want to hang out and just have a good time. I feel like, maybe I'm like meant to be like an Oprah or something like that and just like have
Put it
people on
out
my
there.
couch,
Put it
and
out
just
there.
and just
Yeah,
like join up,
yeah.
just like hang out, right? So yeah, I just enjoy learning from other people and them learning from me, and in that they will become a better version of themselves or a completely different emergence of themselves, and be able to pivot from where they are to where they really are, remembering who they are and why they're here.
Their core, just their core. And I like their why, because
Seriously.
we're all here for a different reason, right? I mean,
Seriously.
we're all still alive. We all still got up this morning because God, the universe, still has a purpose for us. And whether we know what it is yet or not, it's still there. Right. And
I mean, I love to tell the story, and I just started recently telling the story. So when my birth story goes, that my biological mother died giving birth to me, and my biological father had to give me up for adoption because he couldn't afford me anymore. And when I sit back and actually really finally process that, I realized that shit, like he could have set me out to, he could have like cut off my hand and sent me out to beg on the side of the street. He could have had me killed because I was a female living in the caste system in India, right? He could have just left me for dead. He could have done all these things, but for some reason, universal intervention happened and gave me the opportunity to sit here, to live my life, so I can sit here, to be ready to talk to you about living my life, because I was given this, because I was here to serve, I was here to do something great with my life. And every single person has this type of story in them. And this is where you can start to feel and start to plant the seeds of your worthiness and your ability and your reason to be here, because you're here for a freaking reason, right? And it's to serve in some capacity. And that is why you're here. And that is what people tend to forget along the way when you have all these life defining moments and you're just punch left, get a haymaker in the face, like all these things, right?
Mm.
But really, to the core of people's beings, you're here for a reason, and you just got to remember who you are. And for me, if my story resonates with you and I'm here to help you and I can set you on that path to figure that out of how and why you're here, then awesome, let's work together.
Chills. Massive.
So,
I got goosebumps right
awesome,
now.
right?
That was freaking beautiful. You need to have your own talk show. And I want to be, I want to be, I'll say not your first guest, because that may be a little egotistical, but maybe like in the first 10 shows.
Okay.
All right.
Deal. Deal.
I have a very large following on LinkedIn, and I will promote you like crazy.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, Jen, this has been super, super fantastic. I am glad that your dad didn't abandon you, leave you in the street, cut off your hand. So kudos to him. God bless him wherever he is. I'm so glad that you, and that you continued along your path. I know that you said it was very, very tough and you felt like giving up a few times. Thank God you didn't. You're here and you're helping people and you're finding your purpose. And the more people you help, I bet the better you feel. Right. So it's like people say, like, what gives you energy? Because just, you know, when you do something that gives you energy, you just want to do more of it. Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so love what you're doing, and so glad that Wendy connected us, and I hope we stay in very good touch. Hey, Jen, if people want to get in touch with you and learn more about you, email, website, what do you want to share with us today?
So definitely, I'm sure that you're going to pop the links down below, but my website, it's jenwertsrn.com right now, but I'm actually transitioning that over, but you'll be fed over to the new website. So no worries. Great. You can find my books and my workbooks on Amazon and my website. You can, on my website, you can find all my podcasts and all the upcoming things that are happening, which are actually pretty freaking cool. I have a TEDx talk coming out. Nice. Yes. So I'm super excited about that. So find me there, and then just email me, and I love to just hang out with new people. So catch me up, hit me up.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, I'm in Rochester, New York, and it's starting to get warm here, which is nice. But when it's February, I'll give you a call, and I'll come down there. We'll have some coffee.
Yes, I would love that.
That's how we say it in New York. We say coffee. We're gonna have some coffee and we'll talk. Okay.
I grew up south of Boston, but we can still be friends. It's okay.
All right. Listen, Boston's got great seafood, so I do like it. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. I also want to thank the Gonzo family for and just everybody sharing their heartbeats with us today. Such a great show. Thanks for bringing it, Jen. And thank you, Gonzo family. Every Wednesday morning, everybody, we have a brand new show. Get us on your podcast app, subscribe, download, whatever you can do. Rate, review us, make us look fantastic. We've been doing an episode every week for 5 years and want to continue for the rest of my life. So please support us. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day and make sure to stay awesome.